Well, hey there, YouTube. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Mailbag. Mailbag, what's in the mailbag today for Petey? So, we have just a few packages from China, as always. And I'm going to tell a little bit of a story. Today is September 25th, I believe. And wow, I don't even remember ordering these. And they've got a guard. I never got this plastic guard, but I did sit on a pair of these and they cut my thigh open. These are sharp. Usually I will grind the tip down, which will happen with these. Now, these Plato 170, Plato model 170, a lot of time it'll say 3D printer. And I think what that means is you use this to clip flash or external plastic pieces that are part of the injection molding or 3D printing process but are not part of the final product. You use this to trim that stuff. But for a while I was like, do they mean that these things are 3D printed? Like, I didn't, it just right over the old noggin. So these Plato 170s are cheap, meaning they're around $2 to $3. They're nippers. They're really good for trimming your nails and any type of hobby work. These are highly recommended. Mine got chewed up a little bit. You know, the blades from cutting wire, if you look at the blades, there's little dimples in them. And that's not good. They do get dull, like if there was a way to clean those blades up, like if I was, suppose I could take a file in there and try to clean them up. But if you know about doing this type of work, you can clean them up for $1.70. It's like, just buy another set. I hate to be like that, but when you're using them as wire strippers, like what I like to do is I'll just even make an imprint on the wire and then turn it and make another imprint and then grab my thumb and pull that part off, or hit it with a lighter for a second and pull it off. Having really sharp, surgically sharp blades is preferable. So the Plato 170s, highly recommended. If you don't have a set of those, log into your eBay right now. Better yet, go over to AliExpress and save yourself some money. I do recommend you order like 3 things though. The chances of your package getting lost is less if you have something larger or multiple items combined into one package. This is a silicone pot holder. These are awesome. These are awesome. All kinds of uses for them. If you have an area where you're always putting down a coffee, get one of these. For, like, let's say you're putting a vessel into a crock pot. That will sit on the bottom and provide a buffer. So now here we have some sort of a, and I do have my stiletto knife here, but I'm not using it today. Oh, it's finally here. We had one of these that I had ordered that was all I ordered that day, and it didn't show up. So a package of this was misdelivered or disappeared, and the post person claimed that they delivered it, which really kind of sucks. Hey honey, this we got to fill up with naphtha later. It came, and look, it's got a little screw off cover, which I will lose unless I somehow attach a string to it and attach the string to the neck of the bottle so it has a keeper. But this little squeeze bottle is super cool. This, they say it's for oil. I'm gonna have naphtha in it. I'm gonna have solvent in it. And I've got a body spray, a little bottle with a sprayer. Where is that toilet water? Yesterday I gave you a bottle of toilet water, brown bottle, honey.
I think it's there.
Like I got this for 99 cents at the resale store. And this is what I'm talking about. This is caramel and sea salt or something.
That's the ice cream that we have.
It's good, good. Hey, I could put this be like a Tin Man.
All your old achy joints.
All my old achy joints, yeah. That's why I smoke
scared
2
of it.
joints when I get up the toys.
He's scared of it.
Oh, it's okay. Take the thing off and just blow air into his
No.
eye. Hey, do you want to put this in that white crock pot for me? Thank you, darling. And we're missing a package.
Oh, no, it's over here. I put it over here. I thought you were done.
Oh, my helper. All right, one more package to go. Bum, 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 bum. What do we have here? Ooh, fun playtime. Petey gets to do a project later.
Later in the month.
Later in the month. I don't think I'm doing this today.
Or later in the year.
We need a little bit of break from, we've been working
And I'm sick.
and jamming because we fell out of practice and we've got a visitor coming in about 15 days. And we intend to play for this guy and we have to practice to get sounding good again.
I'm good.
Okay, Peanut Gallery. So this here, yeah, welcome to mailbag. What's in the mailbag for Gonti today? It's turning into that. So this is a 250K potentiometer full-size pot. This is WAH brand. It's WAAH, I think is the name brand of this. I think. And you see these, I want to, newt case pots. I want to get 3 of these pots and put them in the newt case. Because see, you can get, like these are a little more expensive. Like this is like about $10 for 3 of these. But these are going to get, I'm going to replace the potentiometers that's in one of my guitars. And as I'm going, I'm going to be buying more of these pots and installing them in guitars because the small pots, they just don't have a good feel and they're just crappy. These are really a higher standard potentiometer that's going to provide a better sound and a better service, a better feel, and they're larger, so it just feels better when you turn it. And my newt case, the newt case Souk, which we are about to leave to do a noise remote at a new location. Yesterday we went out, all of the spots that we hit, meaning Bestmont Park, Varth Pond, and then
Shilbert.
Guyanier, Shilbert, they were all taken. There was all people barbecuing and there's a good blue collar Hispanic presence here where we live. So these people really like to get outdoors when the weather's nice and they love to barbecue. And I don't blame them. I'm not saying, oh, those damn Mexicans are taking over. It's not like that. They live here, they pay taxes, and they deserve it. Those are hardworking people, and they're throwing family events, so I approve it, and I certainly don't expect every time we go out for these places to be available. So it's a fact of life, but I will, let me see that lemonade. I will throw some curses. I do. God,
It's colder today, there might be other empty spots, but I mean, you wanna go back to the place we found.
When we pull up and see that the lot is full and I see the smoke from the barbecue, I do swear. On video, I'm gonna be a little bit more polite about it. So yesterday, that was the case. And Gomti saved the day. She was like, hey, there's this one, that shortcut that I take on the way to work. So it's kind of a little bit further out from the local spots that we have been hitting. But this place is in a weird spot. It's right by a major highway. So there is highway noise. And yesterday there was a loud plane and there was some motorcycles that were going by on the highway. So I figure, you know what, there is that highway noise, but if we face the camera the other way, and that happens to be the direction where the sun would be shining on me as the subject in the footage. So there's a structure, there's a lightning detector because it's a soccer field, and then there's a power transformer, and that power transformer has an outlet on it. There's a little box you can open up with a GFI outlet on. I was like, holy cow, they even got AC power if we want a Jones. Now, yesterday, we went out to do a noise. I'm going to need more than this. That's a really good mixture, though.
Yeah,
The mixture is really good.
Here.
Yeah. So I'm saying the amount of sparkling water, I can really tell it's bubbly. So yeah, we went out to do a noise remote. We had the Pink Floyd Echoes box, previously known as the David Gilmour Siegel machine, and the new case, Souk. And I'm still like developing that, figuring it out. So we brought this stuff out and we have this new lighting, LED lighting. I have two 20-watt LED floodlamps. One is soft white, like a yellow or white color, and the other is a color changey with a little remote. So I had brought a real small Duracell brand inverter, this little tiny cute inverter, and I didn't bring the heavy duty extension cords. I thought, well, this one will be enough. Anyway, it wasn't, because all of the parking access that's near the pavilion is handicap parking. So you can't park there. So we began filming. There was a couple that showed up with some golf clubs and some dogs, and they were staring at us. Because, I mean, it's going, whoa, 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 and I've got speakers and we've got a camera. So it looks a little suspicious, right? Then there was an older woman who came creeping around the corner looking. I think she heard us too, and I guess she walks there. So there is people there, but I'm telling you, I think we're going to go and do a full remote there. We're going to point the speakers away because there's a huge soccer field that would absorb that sound. So we're going to try it. We're going to go over there. And it's a good spot for a micro. Like, it would be great for a micro. We could get away with it totally. The only thing is, if you point your speakers away from the area where the new condos are, because there is some condos, or they're not, it's a subdivision. And there was a woman with a Weimaraner who had white pants who was staring at us. And he's going, like, just flipping out. Every day she takes it on its walk, and this dog has got so many demons. It's just completely stressing out, and and we were setting up, and she was staring at us. So anybody with a Weimaraner, those type of people. I don't know. I'm not going to comment on like dog owners and offend 3/4 of my. Everyone that I ever knew that had a Weimaraner was a fucking asshole. They were like some of the worst, most psychotic people I ever knew in my life.
My niece has one.
Denise and Jamie.
My niece.
Your niece?
Go on.
Who?
I'm not going to say it.
Oh.
They have one.
Well, her husband's a fucking prick. Anyway, I did a little bit with the Pink Floyd Echoes box, and then I moved over to the Seagull or the Newt case, and everything was cooking, and it was nice and loud. We had a sub, and we had a little 10-inch PA speaker going, and it was. Well, this is the first time out with the upgrades of the new amplifier, and it's everything's cooking. It's loud. She's filming. We didn't have the lights set up because we didn't have the proper extension cord, and I lost it. It just cut out. And the LED for the delay, there's a delay LED that pulses with the LFO on the delay. If you engage that, that light was dim. So I opened it up and I smelled a little something, so I shut it off. And then I looked behind it. The jack, the plug for the speaker had come out and was halfway. So it was like maybe shorting, or I don't know. We brought it home. We packed up and came home, and I uploaded that footage. I did like a two image thing, and it's not very good footage. We're going back to reshoot today, so it'll be a longer thing. Anyway, the Newt case died, and I had tied in a pair of wires on the main power bus. Now the main power bus, it has a 16-volt rail, which is a strip on a Vero board. There's a Vero board that has 3 or 4 channels, probably four lines on it, okay? So there's 2 grounds, one on the one side and one on the other side. There's a 16-volt rail. Then there's a 9-volt rail because it has a 7809 voltage regulator. Then there's some cuts, okay? Or one cut, maybe, I forget. But there's a 7803, there's a 3-volt voltage regulator, and there's filter capacitors on this board. So then the main power comes in to give it the 16 and get power for both of the voltage regulators are there. And then there's output lines for the 3 volts and the 9 volts. And there's the additional full 16-volt rail. And all of the circuits tie into there because I've got one circuit in there that runs off 3 volts. Then there's 9-volt circuits and 16-volt circuits. So I had gone into that and pulled it up and cut in on it. And the first thing I did was check there's on the Echo board, there's a PT2399, which is a 5-volt voltage regulator. So I checked that and it didn't have power. It was reading like a little bit. I went to the main power input, which should have read 9 volts, and that had 1 volt. Then I went with my left index finger and I touched the 7809 voltage regulator. There's a steel backing on it, which is a heat sink area. I touched that and I burned, like really badly burned, the tip of my index finger. It did not blister because it's calloused skin from playing guitar. But I touched it right where you fret, and man, that hurt. It really hurt. I had to get ice. I ran 3 ice cubes of melting them with putting my finger on it as I worked. And what I discovered was I pulled that board up and I soaked it down with naphtha and then scrubbed it with a wire brush. And then I ran a knife edge, an X-Acto knife edge through it. And I was catching on all kinds of stuff. I reheated some traces and cleaned it up. And then flipped it over, powered it up, and it was fine. So there was a short that manifested itself, and this is why there's a guy, Clementine Heavy Metal ATC, his channel, he, in one of his videos, mocked me, and he said, PD does robot soldering. meaning it looks like a robot did the job. And he's like, I don't do robot soldering. Well, you don't do as much Vero work as I do when you haven't run into problems like I have. And I know I'm sounding like I'm thin-skinned, but trust me, I didn't build the new case too long ago. I think it was 2012 when I built that.
I don't know, that's 10 years though, so what are you talking about too long ago?
Yeah. So I have gotten better in 10 years. Because I was kind of appalled. When I flipped that board over, what I saw, I wasn't really happy with it. So it is what it is. You know, I within an hour I had it back up, right? It was probably more like a half hour. Yeah, so that's pretty good, you know. I mean, whenever something like this happens, it's like the bottom drops out of my reality, and it's just like, dong. It's like you have a court date and you know you're going to jail for a couple of years. That's how bad I feel when something like this happens. And then it's like, you know, you built it. You built it, which means you can figure it out and you can fix it. And anything in there can be replaced. Yeah, it would suck if you had to rebuild one of the boards. Then we had a wire break off last night. Like shit just started going wrong with the new case, and I couldn't figure out where to solder it in. And there was a couple places I thought. Then I went and I just looked it up. I went in my file folder of DIY stuff, and I typed in LFO, and it came up 555 LFO, and I recognized the image, and I looked at it, and it was like, okay, the rate pot goes from pin 2 to pin 7 of the IC. So I went and looked, and sure enough, that's what it was. So in resoldering the pin 7 that broke off, the pin 2 broke off. Because when one breaks, the other's right behind
I
it.
want to break too.
Yeah. So we had to like push through that little piece of wire with a pin, like, you know, I'll hold the board at an angle and Gopti will get in there with a pin. I have a rubberized belt that has seat belt components, so you can click it together like an old General Motors seat belt. And my mom and my stepdad gave all three of us these belts. I want to talk to my brothers and see if they have those, and they didn't use them, and be like, hey, I'll buy that belt off of you. Because I love this belt. Whenever you see me in the camouflage shorts, that's what I'm wearing. And this belt, it gives, it stretches, it's real rubbery material. So you can sit in a car. Like with me, if I adjust the belt to where I'm standing, because I have an odd body shape, I have a big protruding belly, and then it gets real skinny around my waistline, and I wear my pants too low, according to my wife. So I need a belt that's going to be like, if I eat and then sit down, it's got to give. It needs to stretch, and that's what this belt does. Anyway, it tore. It's been tearing, and I've been sewing it, and it tore really badly. It comes up, and then it flips around where the buckle is. And that part where it was all sewed up tore after the sewing. So I used mule tape. I used like a foot of mule tape, which is white, and then I just painted that black. I just squeezed
That's
acrylic.
on your arm.
Squeezed acrylic paint out
There.
on it, and then rubbed it in with my finger and let it dry for an hour. So we flipped that over, put the belt buckle on it, and then sewed in there, and then laid it up where it would go nice on the belt, and sewed it all in there for like 6 inches. It's all stitched in there with this really this super fibrous, like thick thread that I got a spool of that you can't break this thread. It was a gift to me from R.I.P. Jimmy. So I fixed my stretchy belt yesterday, which was a big thing. And I was so proud of myself. I kept saying, I did a good job. I'm really proud of myself for fixing that belt. Because it was a little old world, you know, we're sewing. And after a while, I was like, you think maybe you could take over on the sewing and I could get back to the soldering? It's just, I didn't feel right about it. She's watching me, and I'm like, you know, I married you. You can sew a little bit.
I never said I could sew.
Yeah, she doesn't want to sew. She doesn't do the home ec stuff. Anyway, yesterday was a good day of fixing stuff. We were putting all kinds of different various mega ohm level resistors in pedals because we had popping issues. I'm auditioning different overdrive pedals to run in front of my new XMG30 because I discovered you can really change the tone and add a little gain and it really livens up the digital modeling. It really is cool. So I'm trying different overdrives, and they're all a little different. Like some will be fat, some will be trebly, and I like the fat ones. Some make it glassy, some make it sound more tube-like. But they were popping when you engage them. It's like a high gain patch, so even a little click is going to be loud. So yesterday was just ridiculous. We were playing and then taking pedal. We'd finish the song, go in there and change out. This is okay. It's a 1M resistor. Let's put a 2.2M. Okay, let's try a 10M. Let's try one on the input and the output. So we ended up just 10 M's on the input and output. And I don't know if that worked or not, but we're about to go on this remote, and I wanted to tell you guys the story of how I burned my finger by touching the back of the voltage regulator, which I did. I used JB Weld Automotive epoxy to attach a little heat sink to the back of that. And man, I can't believe that thing. It took a beating. It took a hard short, and it was just cooking in there, and it smelled and everything. And it's still working. I mean, we'll see. I'm taking it out now. Maybe it'll die again, and I'll know, that voltage regulator probably needs to be replaced.
Do we need to take a tester or fuses?
We should take a tester, and we should have a fuse in the new case.
So there's a fuse in there, so grab that tester.
There's a fuse?
Well, you said it. Is there a fuse? Do we need a fuse?
Yeah, we just bring the fuses.
Yeah.
And we should tape,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I thought you
All
right.
And I need to order pots for the new case.
We need to go.
All right, you guys, I'll talk to you later. Take care of yourselves, hug your pets, stay cool, stay warm. And yeah, it's cold. Stay warm. That's what I should be saying now. Peace.